Hey everybody, I hope that you're having a great week. I wanted to share something with you in the middle of the week that hopefully just gives you a lot of encouragement so that you can finish strong. Some years ago, I was reading a book by the famous pastor Chuck Swindoll, and he was talking about the coach Tom Landry, the famous head coach of the Dallas Cowboys, and that caught my attention. I grew up in Northeast Texas. I was, at least at that time, I was a Dallas Cowboy fan, and I was always just a big fan of Tom Landry. Well, what he was pointing out is that if you look at the beginning of Tom Landry's coaching career with the Dallas Cowboys, it didn't start so great. There was one losing season after another, and you probably know how fans are. Fans like to support a winning team, and so they were really kind of coming down pretty hard on the coach. The reason that Swindoll brought up Tom Landry is because in spite of the failures, especially early on, Tom Landry was not known for quitting. In fact, he was known as being a man that was disciplined and he was determined. And those were two characteristics that he instilled in his teams. Nobody at the beginning of Tom Landry's career was calling him a legend. At the end of his career, everybody was calling him a legend. Not just because of his success on the field, but because of the character of the man that led the team that was on the field. It's one of the reasons that they became known as America's team. Even if you're not a Dallas Cowboys fan, you gotta take it. It is what it is. But it also reminds me of some other things, some truths that we see in Scripture, and especially from a guy named Paul. You know, Paul had quite a journey in his life. One, just his conversion to Christianity, from going from being a persecutor of Christians to being one of the leaders of Christians. You see the man that is shipwrecked multiple times, he's beaten multiple times, faced death multiple times. Now that's quite a story. I mean, the entire expansion of Christianity into the West is because of his devotion to the mission of sharing the gospel with people that had not heard about Jesus. And that's really commendable. It reminds me that probably the same thing that was true of Tom Landry was also true of the Apostle Paul well before him, that he was a man that was known for determination, and he was a man that just simply would not quit. He wrote this letter to the church at Corinth. And as you get to the end of the letter, in the 16th chapter, he gives them a word of encouragement, because these are Christians that are surrounded by a culture that doesn't believe the same things that they do. They don't practice life the same way that they do. There were a lot of things that were pressing in on the church. And so he leaves them with a word of encouragement. And he tells them to be strong. And I want to leave that word of encouragement with you today, is that you would be diligent, you would be committed, that you wouldn't quit, and that you would be strong, and you would finish the race well. I hope you have a great week, my friends. God bless.